My friends, Shabbat Shalom. I certainly don't want to tell you that you're having too much fun, because in Judaism, Shabbat is supposed to be joyous. But you do need to calm down so that we can have a service. It is Erev Shabbat of what has been a lovely day. And we are delighted that it is Brotherhood Shabbat, which means that members of our Men of Reform Judaism are going to be coming up in their turns. They don't have to wait each of you to be announced, but when it's your turn, come on up. They're going to be leading much of the service. Rabbi Zimmerman is at a bar mitzvah in New York, so I get to come out of retirement and off of vacation. Actually, I've been away for a month, which has been lovely. But here we are, and Monica Odeski also just flew in from Boston to be with us. So we're all back and ready, and it's time to take a deep breath. Shabbat is arriving. So page 1, I'm going to first call up our, you should all have this service. Don't worry about the book. This is it, all right? Our Brotherhood President, Howard Bellet, is also going to bring greetings.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good evening, everyone. I'm Howard Bellet. I'm the president of the Beth-El Men of Reform Judaism, a.k.a. the Brotherhood. And we do a service once a year that we lead, and we appreciate everyone coming out to support us. Brotherhood Shabbat is not only an opportunity for us to give something back to the congregation, it's an opportunity for us to reflect on who we are and to reflect on the men around us, our sons and our fathers, our nephews, uncles, grandsons, and grandfathers, men from many generations. Shabbat worship has, since the beginning, utilized music as a significant constituent of religious self-expression, and we are going to use music this evening to connect ourselves to generations past and generations to come. We've also made a special selection of those musical composers that reflect the Brotherhood. Through worship and the music historically associated with worship, we give voice to this, and tonight we share that voice with you. Shabbat Shalom.
So as Jim comes up to get us started, I should correct my own error and welcome First United Methodist Church of Aledo. It's great to have a nice young group with us, adding to our numbers. Please relax and enjoy. Jim Stein.
Page 2. God, how can we know you? Where can we find you? You are as close to us as breathing, yet you are farther than the farthermost star. You are as mysterious as the vast solitudes of the night, yet you are as familiar to us as the light of the sun. To Moses you said, "You cannot see my face, but I will make all my goodness pass before us, in the realm of nature and in the joys and sorrows of life." Together, when justice burns within us like a flaming fire, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when to the last full measure of selfless devotion, we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then your goodness enters our lives and we can begin to change the world, and then you live within our hearts and we through righteousness behold your presence.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed is the Lord, the holy God.
Amen.
And now I'd like to invite Roberta Billett up to light the Shabbat candles.
In every beginning, there is darkness. Darkness of chaos seems eternal, yet from form emerges, light dawns and life is born.
In the beginning, the Most High made heaven and earth.
In every beginning, there is darkness. The darkness of ignorance, which smothers human dignity. The darkness of fear, which chokes the creative will. The darkness of tyranny, which stifles freedom.
The Most High said, "Let there be light."
The Shabbat candles celebrate the divine power that makes for life and light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu b'chag b'nei Shabbat. Blessed is the eternal power that inspires our people to kindle the light of Shabbat. Blessed is the source of life.
May we be blessed with the light of dignity, creation, and freedom. May we be blessed with the light of joy and love and peace. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'echad likneh shel Shabbat.
Rabbi Chaim of Tzantz used to tell this parable. A man wandering lost in the forest for several days finally encountered another. He called out, "Brother, show me the way out of this forest." The man replied, "Brother, I too am lost. I can only tell you this: the ways I have tried lead nowhere. They have only led me astray. Take my hand and let us search for the way together." Rabbi Chaim would also add, "So it is with us. When we go our separate ways, we may go astray. Let us join hands and look for a way together."
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. לי 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 לי. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. לי 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 לי. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On the Sabbath, we are reminded that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. Therefore, we welcome Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, L'shem u'likveret v'tihila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha, ki miko habaracha, merosh mikedem mesucha, sof maaseh b'machravat tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yitoreri, yitoreri, ki va'orech kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'chotzahola, toch emuneh am segula. Boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Thought I'd make just a quick explanation for some of our guests. Why were we all turned around? It's to welcome the Sabbath bride. So,
Who's coming in that
who's
door?
coming in that door?
Just about.
Just
now.
right.
Just about.
Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba, yamadira hirte lalich mahute, v'chayechon hu yamechon, olech levet kol bet Yisrael, bahagala, uvizman kohorim, v'yameru, amen. Hey Shlem Layamon Bevorach, Yithanon Meomayach, Yishtarach, Yitromach, Yitardar, Yitanar, Yitasam, Yitaseh, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalau, Shemei Kudusha Barichu, Leamin Kol Birchata V'Shirata, Tush Bechata V'Nechemata, Dahamiram B'Yama, Yimru. Amen. May your great name grow in holiness in the world created as you willed. May your majesty rule in our lifetimes, in our day, and in the lifetimes of all the house of Israel. Speedily and soon, and we answer, Amen. May your great name be blessed forever and eternity. May the name of the Holy, Blessed One be praised and lauded, glorified and exalted, honored and respected beyond blessing, song, hymn, or psalm that we on earth could offer. And we answer, Amen.
Please rise. Some of the regulars are ready to roll. Baruch Hu es Adonai Hamvarach, blessed Adonai, the Blessed One. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach, le'olam va'ed. Blessed is Adonai, the Blessed One, forever and ever.
Baruch et Adonai, HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach, le'olam va'ed. Responsively at the bottom of the page, there was a silence, there was a chaos, there was a voice. And mind went forth to form worlds, now order reigns where chaos once held sway. The moon follows accustomed paths, constellations their patterned ways.
Sovereign is the will that orders the stars in their courses in the endless skies. Sovereign is that will.
We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear.
We are
loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God, the Eternal One alone. Baruch Shem Kavod Malhuto Le'olam Va'ed. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. The path to the love of God is through the love of others. I do not love God until I love my neighbor as myself. Jewish faith unites mind and heart. Even as my mind seeks to understand life's meaning, so may my life show love for all created things. We do not teach our children by words alone. May I make my life and actions into good teachings, for in my conduct I must exemplify Torah. Let my home glow with the beauty of our heritage. Let my doors be opened wide to wisdom and to righteousness.
Together. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol lavcha v'chol nafsheka uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvorim ha'elech asher anokim mitzavka el alavecha v'shinantom levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shifteka b'veitecha uv'lefteka b'derech uv'shafpeka uv'kamecha Ugashartom laot al yodeka, vahayulatot tefot beineneka, Ugashartom al mezozopeteka, uvishareka. Lama antiskaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'haim kem kidashim lelohehem. Ani Adonai Elohehem, asher alokim behem eretz Mitzrayim, leyot alhem lelohim, Ani Adonai Elohehem. Love Adonai your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at home and at work. Whether you're tired or rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gates. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. My son, if you will receive my words and treasure my commandments, so that you incline your ear to wisdom and apply your heart to understanding. Indeed, if you cry after knowledge and lift up your voice for understanding, if you seek her like silver and search for her as for hidden treasure, then shall you understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding.
Adonai imloch leolam vaed. V'nehemar kifada Adonai et Yaakov, uga'alo mi'archazat mimenu. Baruch ata Adonai Gaal Yisrael.
On the day when our ancestors stood before God in the wilderness, his words came before them and captured their hearts. You are standing this day, all of you, before God the Eternal, to enter into his covenant. It was a covenant of life for them and their descendants. See, I have set before you this day life and good, death and evil. This day I command you to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, to keep his mitzvot. It is in God's power to command us and ours to reject him. But if you do not listen, I tell you this day that you will surely perish. Therefore have I set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Choose life, then, that you and your children may live.
We will choose life. We will
Hold fast to the covenant
that brings life.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu makenu lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu חכנו לחיים.
Grant that we may lie down in peace, eternal God, and raise us up, O sovereign of life renewed. Spread over us the sheltering sukkah of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake, be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war and famine and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil, O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful sovereign. Give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that now and always we have life and peace. We praise you, O God, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
The people of Israel will keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout their generations as an everlasting covenant between me and the people of Israel. It is a sign forever that Adonai made heaven and earth in 6 days, while on the seventh day God rested and was refreshed.
Thank you. We pause for a minute to remember all who are ill in the community, and then we're going to sing a prayer for their recovery. I have a hunch some of these people have been better for a while. The list keeps getting longer and longer, but you can't be too prayed for. So we hope they're all fine, all right? Kelly Webb, Annette Dover, Frank Dover, Charlotte Fiwis, Corinne Jacobson, Lita Marishak, George Berger, Leslie Arnov, Stacy Lewis, Alan Lusky, Charlie Freed, Rick Simon, Jeffrey Mark, Robert Klein, Patrick Cooney, Arthur Liederman, Susan Schultz, Susan Smith, Elliot Blumberg, Arlene Reynolds, Cynthia Gilbert, and Evelyn Siegel. Any others we should be adding? Jeff Sack. Thank you.
Jimmy Allen, Odette Johnson, Leona and Ron Levy,
Thank you.
Ellen Mack,
Okay.
Rick Jones. Sally Ditto.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody we missed as going
Diane
on?
Kleinman, Jack Stombaugh.
Thank you. Zichronam. I do that every time. May they know refuah shlema, all right? May they come to full healing. Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Adonai, open our lips and our mouths will declare your glory. Together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avosenu v'Imotenu,
Elohei Abraham v'Sarah, Elohei Yitzhak v'Rivka, v'Elohei Yaakov, Rachel v'Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן.
ברוך אתה
אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
Each generation has its path, each vision of its own. Yet each is linked to all, their origin and goal are one. Our mothers and fathers kindled lights to lead us to the day of shining hope, with mercy our companion along the way. Recalling the generations, we weave our lives into the tradition. Praise be the source of strength and courage, the source of kindness and good deeds. Praise be the source of greatness and love, of softness and kind words. Praise be the man who transcends strength through gentleness. Praise be the woman who prefers gentleness through strength. Praise be the person who acts according to the best that is within. Praise be the person who reaches out to touch the best in others. Praise be the gentle faithfulness of Abraham and the valiant strength of Sarah. Honor to the generations of Israel, our people. All honor to those who illumine our past.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Machaye HaKol Atah Rav La'oshia. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. In this adaptation of the Riverot prayer. The Hasidim tell a story of the Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov would go into the woods, light a sacred fire, and pray to find an answer to a particularly weighty problem. In this way, he found insight to his dilemma. His successor would go to the same place in the woods. We no longer remember how to light the fire, but we can still say the prayer. And that sufficed, and he also found his answer. His successor would go to the same place in the woods, but could not light the fire or remember the prayer, and said, that will have to suffice, and it did. In the fourth generation, the rabbi stayed home and said, the fire we can no longer light, the prayer we no longer know, nor do we remember the place. All we can do is tell the tale, and that too proved sufficient. What happens when the tale itself is no longer told? What happens when we no longer have storytellers to tell the tales?
Page 16. And you shall teach them to your sons. In the modern era, this concept has thankfully been expanded to include our daughters as well. The word levanecha is often translated as to your children, so this is no leap at all. With little effort, the concept can be extended to other children as well. The Jewish Chautauqua Society was created to disseminate knowledge about Judaism and its interrelationship with traditions of other faiths. Based on the belief that prejudice breeds on ignorance born of stereotype, the JCS seeks to reduce anti-Semitism by providing non-Jews with opportunities to understand the culture, beliefs, and practices of the Jewish people. The Society pursues this mission by sponsoring rabbinically taught college-level courses and secondary school programs to all children, and by supporting programs dedicated to interfaith cooperation and mutual respect. The goal of the JCS is understanding through education.
Thank you. You may be seated. On the page before, 15, there are a couple of meditations for private reflection, or you can think your own thoughts.
Oh, say shalom, shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'akol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen.
We are going to read Torah now. It's not in the book, but that's okay. You know the blessings, and you can look them up if you need them. So let me ask that you please rise as we remove the Torah from the ark.
Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu, Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu Ha'kodsho, Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu Ha'kodsho.
You may be seated. We have Brandon Levy joining us to help Monica follow along and make sure she's on track, which I'm not too worried about, but nevertheless, it's a tradition to follow along. And I want to call forward all of these Brotherhood members who've been helping. And if you haven't been helping, but you're a Brotherhood member, that's okay. Come on up. You are all invited to the honor of blessing the Torah. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
No, he's okay. Yeah, he's okay. Do you have the copy too? I gave you one. Ready? Okay.
Go for it.
וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, צב את אהרון ואת בניו לאמור, זו תורת העולה, היב העולה. Did I miss something? Ad Mukdah המזבח כל הלילה עד הבוקר, ואש המזבח תוקד בו. ולבש הכהן מדובד, ומכנסי בד ילבש על בשרו, וחרים את הדשן, אשר תאכל האש את העולה על המזבח, ושמו אצל המזבח, ופשט את בגדיו, ולבש בגדים אחרים, והוציא את הדשן על מחוץ למחנה, המקום טהור. והאש על המזבח תוקד בו לא תכבה, וביער עליה הכהן עצים בבוקר, וערך עליה העולה, והקטיר עליה חלבי חשלמים, אש תמיד תוקד על המזבח לא תכבה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Command Aaron and his sons thus, this is the ritual of the burnt offering. The burnt offering itself shall remain where it is burned upon the altar all night until morning, while the fire on the altar is kept going on it. The priest shall dress in linen raiment with linen breeches next to his body, and he shall take up the ashes to which the fire has reduced the burnt offering on the altar and place them beside the altar. He shall then take off his vestments and put on other vestments and carry the ashes outside the camp to a clean place. The fire on the altar shall be kept burning, not to go out. Every morning the priest shall feed wood to it, lay out the burnt offering on it, and turn into smoke the fat parts of the offering of well-being. A perpetual fire shall be kept burning on the altar, not to go out.
Thank you very much. Yasher koach, everyone. You may be seated. Would you rise for a moment as we dress the Torah? On page 372, if you want to go fishing for a book, are the Haftarah blessings. Please feel free to join in.
Baruch atah
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. No. She was right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nbiim tovim v'ratza b'divreihem הנאמרים באמת, ברוך אתה, אדוני, הבוחר בתורה, ובמשה עבדו, ובישראל עמו, ובנביאי האמת והצדק. I know we haven't been doing a lot of Haftarah portions lately, but it's Shabbat HaGadol, and you'll see in a moment why we have to do this Haftarah. This is from chapter 3 of Malachi. You have spoken harsh words against me, said the Lord, but you ask, what have we been saying among ourselves against you? You have said, it is useless to serve God. What have we gained by keeping his charge and walking in abject awe of the Lord of hosts? And so we account the arrogant happy. They have indeed done evil and endured. They have indeed dared God and escaped. In this vein have those who revere the Lord been talking to one another. The Lord has heard and noted it, and a scroll of remembrance has been written at his behest concerning those who revere the Lord and esteem his name. And on the day that I am preparing, said the Lord of hosts, they shall be my treasured possession. I will be tender toward them as a man is tender toward a son who ministers to him. And you shall come to see the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between him who has served the Lord and him who has not served him. For lo, the day is at hand, burning like an oven. All the arrogant and all the doers of evil shall be straw, and the day that is coming, said the Lord of hosts, shall burn them to ashes and leave them neither stock nor boughs. But for you who revere my name, a son of victory shall rise to bring healing. You shall go forth and stamp like stall-fed calves, and you shall trample the wicked to a pulp, for they shall be dust beneath your feet on the day that I am preparing, says the Lord of hosts. Be mindful of the teaching of my servant Moses, whom I charged at Horeb with laws and rules for all Israel. Lo, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the awesome, fearful day of the Lord. Elijah shall reconcile parents with children and children with their parents, so that when I come, I do not strike the whole land with utter destruction. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol amim tzadik bechol hadorot ha'el haneman ha'omer v'oseh ha'medaber u'mekayem shechol dvarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Likdusha v'limnucha, Lechavod ultiferet, Al hakol, Adonai Eloheinu, Anachnu modim lach, U'mavarchim otach, Yitbarach shimcha, V'fi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. As we return the scroll to the ark, once again, would you please rise? I want to begin, of course, with the Torah portion, and before we're done, we'll come back to that lovely Haftarah. But I want to begin by letting you in on a secret about this first paragraph of Parashat Tzav, which Erev Cantor, 2 months ago, just chanted so lovely for us. Symbols grow and change over the ages, and that's a good thing because it keeps them alive and fresh. The point of a symbol is not the literal meaning, but always to point beyond itself. So you were taught in Sunday school, I'd wager, I know I was, that the Ner Tamid, that lamp there that burns all the time in the sanctuary, goes all the way back to biblical times, to Torah portions like this one, burning eternally as a symbol of God's eternal presence in our midst, right? Well, the first time we read of the Ner Tamid is in Exodus 27, verse 21, when the words are clearly talking about the portable sanctuary that, according to the Torah, we prayed in, offered sacrifices in as we went around the wilderness. It says, Aaron and his sons shall tend the fire on the altar before God, to burn from evening until morning. It shall be an eternal statute, chukat olam, for all their generations. That is, this was a portable sanctuary, right? Every time they broke down the Mishkan, this portable sanctuary, the fire had to be extinguished. You couldn't walk around with the fire burning on the altar. Then they relit it when they set up the tabernacle again. It wasn't burning eternally, it was burning all night and all day because they were offering sacrifices, right? So the commandment first time was addressing a different problem. Starting fires in those days, some of you are Boy Scouts, at least by history, was tough work. There weren't any pilot lights. There weren't any matches. So it was a good idea, when the portable temple was in use, to keep the fire burning overnight. That's the seed of the idea, but of course it's going to develop further. In Leviticus, what we just heard chanted, we have a development. Leviticus is a law code, a manual for priests who are tending an altar in a much more established sort of a sanctuary. There were others of these sanctuaries early on, but just think Jerusalem, the temple, and you got the idea. Our paragraph is specifically announced as rules for offering burnt offerings. You have to have fire on the altar to burn what you're going to sacrifice on the altar. And people don't bring sacrifices in the middle of the night. So it becomes the priest's job, along with carrying out the ashes that's mentioned in the same paragraph, to keep enough fire burning overnight to bring it ablaze again the next morning, an Eish Tamid, an eternal fire. That's closer to our Ner Tamid, an eternal light, but still a more pragmatic element there to the sacrificial worship, not a symbol of God, something that's used in worshiping God, but not necessarily symbolizing God. And then, come forward another few hundred years, synagogues evolve, where prayers took the place of sacrifices. But what about the commandment in the Torah, we just read it, to keep a fire burning continually? Well, so then there are all sorts of interpretations about what that commandment means. Commentaries say we should light a fire in our hearts to burn continually. Or the people of Israel should be a flame for the world to keep the light of God present for everyone. Or the one that clearly has won out, the light that we should faithfully tend in our worship places is the light of God, which burns eternally. So the sanctuary symbolism calls to our mind the age-old relationship between our people and all people and God. So does the festival of Passover, right? Since they all point beyond themselves, we shouldn't get too tied up in the details. It begins, incidentally, next Friday night and Saturday. So don't come here next Friday night. You should be at a Seder at home. But if not, there's a temple Seder the second night so that everybody can get to one. Get your reservation in. We need to know how much to prepare, right? Or you can come for a regular Shabbat and festival service Saturday morning. On Pesach, the Hebrew name of the festival, the story of the Exodus from Egypt is the prime reminder of our relationship with God, and we retell it each year at each Seder. The reason for telling this 3,000-year-old story is to remind us that God operates in history, not just back then, but also in our time and in each of our lives. God is the source of life, of ideals, of morality. The knowledge of God should motivate each of us to be a better person. So again, symbols point beyond themselves. Passover is only incidentally, although you should do this, right, about not eating bread for a week or eating special foods on the first night and the second night for the Seder. Not eating bread for a week is a reminder that God liberated us in the past and not just the distant past. Despite Egyptian slavery, and also despite Rome destroying that temple in Jerusalem, and despite other enemies over the ages, pogroms, holocausts, you name it, we're still here, still proclaiming God, still, I pray, with our souls open to divine influence for liberation. I don't want to get too political. We each have our pet issues and no doubt disagree about the best way to approach them. But approach them somehow we must to obey the Torah's call to be witness to God, to be that Ner Tamid, or to stand for what the Ner Tamid reminds us of, and to liberate God's children. That's what the Seder and the Passover are supposed to make us want to do. So there's a march downtown at the courthouse tomorrow morning. And Reform Jews have been asked by our national movement to join in demonstrations and marches across the country, and I know lots of people are involved, and in Florida, some of the kids who got this movement started are our kids from our temple down there in Florida. We need to liberate children from the fear of gun violence in schools. There's already been another incident and another fatality from Parkland, Florida, to today. Women, the Me Too movement, are demanding to be liberated from sexual exploitation in the workplace especially, but everywhere. Some individuals, I'm sure some here, need liberating from awful jobs, terrible marriages, all sorts of addictions. In Nigeria and Syria, in Myanmar and Iraq and more, genocide and war continue to afflict humankind. Politics, not only in America, here too, but around the world, seems to be turning more and more confrontational and small-minded and selfish. If we think that Ner Tamid, or the festival of Passover, are mostly about offering prayers, or even about coming together in families and communities to have a nice meal together for the holiday, if that's all we're getting, we're missing the radical point of the Torah. When we went forth from Egypt, according to the Torah, an Erev Rav, a mixed multitude, came with us, Egyptians, Nubians maybe, whoever yearned for freedom and had the guts to join in the Exodus. The goal of human history, we teach, is a messianic era of peace and harmony. That is why on Shabbat HaGadol, on this great Sabbath before Pesach, we read the prophet Malachi foretelling the coming of Elijah, who is, according to the Bible, to be the herald of the coming Messiah. And what a lovely homey touch in what is also a kind of a fearsome passage about judgments and people getting stomped and all of that. What a nice touch that what the Messiah is first supposed to do, even the herald of the Messiah, Elijah, before the Messianic era itself arrives, the first thing that's supposed to happen is the generations are supposed to be reconciled. We could use that in almost everybody's family, right? The parents should think about the children and the children about the parents, and I don't think it's stretching it too much. The brothers and the sisters and one another and so on and so forth. You can ponder that for your own family. Judaism was never only or even mostly about the ritual. It's about our lives and becoming better people. So sacred symbols exist for us, for most religions, to call us to our better selves, to call us to divine values. Love your neighbor as yourself. Let my people go that they may serve me. Justice, justice shall you pursue. The symbols and ceremonies are in themselves beautiful, and they help create community, and they inspire us to remember who we are. But ultimately, we must go on to the who we are part and act it out in our daily existence. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may such be God's will. Amen. Music.
This particular song brings a little bit of a smile as part of our final cantorial rite of passage. We have to put on a recital. Heaven knows me getting in front of an audience is such a painful thing. Not really, but going through and picking the music, I heard this one particular version of Ashrei, which up in Boston we always do as kind of a droning chant sort of thing. It's the Psalm 84 that's happy are those who dwell in your house that everyone's familiar with. And I heard a version I just absolutely loved wrote a letter to the cantor who's up in upstate New York and said, is it possible to buy the sheet music for this somewhere? And she wrote me back a couple days later. She says, I don't sell the sheet music, but here it is for your recital. Good luck. So I thought that was quite sweet. It's that particular psalm going into Psalm 145, where David usually, after messing up something fierce, extols God's praises to get him off the hook. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od yahallelucha sela, ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, ashrei ha'am she'adonai Elohav, tehillah leDavid, Arom imcha Elohai HaMelech v'avachashim Le'olam ba'ed b'chol yom havachecha v'al Hashemcha le'olam ba'ed Gadol Adonai u'mchulal me'od ולגדולתו אין חקר, דור לדור ישבח מעשיך, וגבורותיך יגידו. הדר כבוד הודיך, ודברי נפלאותיך עשיך, והזוז נורותיך יאמרו, וגדולתך ספרנה. גדול אדוני ונורא מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר, דור לדור ישבח מעשיך, וברותיך יגידו. הדר כבוד הודיך, ודברי נפלאותיך עשיך, והזוז נורותיך יאמרו, וגדולתך ספרנה.
Lovely, thank you indeed. The Aleinu is on page 17 at the middle. Would you rise, please, as we open the Aron Kodesh?
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה יוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגאי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
I'm going to be Mitch.
May do.
Hi, cousin. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, our soul profound enough to cover the earth, loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and grave despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
We want to remember parents, grandparents, loved ones of all sorts who are no longer with us, and especially at holiday times we remember. So if you are in mourning for any of the people on the Kaddish list, as we come to the name, feel free to rise. From the past 30 days, from Shloshim, we remember Ted Hoffman, and then these are the yahrzeits. Eva Berlin, Ronnie W. Vermont, Howard Britton, June Britton, Joe Bronstein, Fanny Brooks, Dr. Bernhardt, Moses J. Chikatsky, Joseph Cohen, Louis Cohn, Jackie Cole, Shep Friedman, Carolyn Gilbert, Marion Goodman, Selma Hochberger, Ruth Hockman, Bertram Jacobs, Ian Matthew Kaitzer, Louise Karatkin, Norma D. Klar, Marvin Adrian Labovitz, Mindy Lieberman, Leona Meisel, Margaret Babcock Morgan, Maxine Newlander, Mona Reddy, Jean Rosenblatt, Samuel N. Rosenthal, Joseph Rubenstein, Nathan Rubin, Louis L. Sandler, Selma Schwartz, Flora Schwartz Siegel, Leo Selig, M. Rose Towns, Lily L. Tuchin, Francis Weltman, and Rick Williams. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May the memory of each righteous soul be a blessing. As together as one community, we rise and recite Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchuchei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach la'alam ula'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit haleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekutsha, b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, namiran ba'alma, v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya, b'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, Imru, amen. May God, who makes peace on high, bring peace to us and to all who are bereaved. And we say, amen. Once the Emperor Hadrian was walking along the road near Tiberias in Galilee, and he saw an old man working the soil to plant some fig trees. If you had worked in your early years, old man, he said, you would not have to work so hard now, late in your life. I have worked both early and late, the old man answered, and what pleased the Lord he has done with me. How old are you? Asked Hadrian. 100 years old, the man answered. 100 years old, and you still stand there breaking up the soil to plant trees? Said Hadrian. Do you expect to eat the fruit of those trees? If I am worthy, I will eat, said the old man, but if not, as my father worked for me, I will work for the next generation.
Our closing song on page 19, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. One more time. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, 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 aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Which said, as I'm sure many of you know, there will yet be peace on us and on all Israel and on all people everywhere. Salam as well as shalom, Arabic as well as Hebrew for peace on us and all the world. Would you bend your head, not rise your head, for the benediction. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God cause the light of God's countenance to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God give us peace for us and for all on weekdays and on the festival which begins. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Don't go away. There's a Kiddush on page, wait a minute, 2 or 3 pages back. I've got it. 17.
Good call.
Young folks, come on up. Join in, and then we've got a motzi too, and then everyone, we hope, will go to the Oneg Shabbat afterwards. Sing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon hinkilanu. Zicharon l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikrae kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki banu bacharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol Shabbat kodshecha, b'ahava u'beratzon, hinhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. Very nice. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Enjoy the oneg. Don't run away.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you. Shabbat shalom, Rabbi.
Thank you, Monica.
Good Shabbat.
Wonderful.
Thank you. I had to fill in the blanks a little bit there and here and there.